Hey guys, welcome to the second vlog in my car on my way to work on an unseasonably cold April day. Most people are calling it 2nd January lately. It's so cold, but first of all, if you're watching this and new to the channel, thanks for subscribing and thanks for helping me grow this channel. It's I think I started reviving it about 3 weeks ago, and it's up almost 200 subs since then, which is, you know, I'm going to be a little fixated on that for a while because I'm just trying to grow it and get it to a point where, you know, it's seeing some pretty meaningful views for the work I need to put in on the videos. Not that I'm putting as much in as a lot of other people in this genre or niche. But yeah, it's just cool to see it growing and see people watching the videos. It's like, I'd encourage you guys to comment on any of the videos. I'm not getting a lot of comments. I'm getting some from the same people, which is cool, great, awesome. I appreciate that, and I'd just like to hear from more people as well. You know, hopefully not negative, but if it is, that's okay. Hopefully you can see me if I put my sunscreen down so I can see. This one's more of a test of my lavalier microphone I've got clipped on, just trying to see if I can reduce the amount of you know, car noise and road noise in the video, or if I'm going to need to learn how to use you call it like Audacity or some audio program to remove it if it gets too annoying. So we'll see, but I think it's probably already going to be a big improvement over last time. So yeah, a few videos in, focusing on Star Wars Legion lately because it's new. I haven't played it yet, but I've been pretty sucked in by the models, and the rules look really cool. I want to talk about the gaming side of things for this vlog, and it won't be a long one. I find myself really drawn now to alternating activation games and the ones that aren't IGOUGO, because it's just striking to me how much more fun and engaging it is when you don't, you know, when you take a move, whether it's Shadespire or like bolt action or something, you take your move, and then the other, either predictably or unpredictably, the other player gets to take a move. And then, I don't know, I just find that creates a much more dynamic landscape for the battles and just makes things way less predictable, more interesting. And just, you know, I'm thinking back to the time, maybe a couple months ago, I tried to play 40k 8th edition with my son, and I have two really nice armies. If you know, I don't think I'm bragging, but I have a really nice Ultramarine and a really nice AdMech army. So we were both playing with really nicely painted models. I had a whole table of painted Sector Mechanicus terrain, really nice battle mat, you know, like pretty much perfect conditions to have a great game. We were sort of learning the rules, but you know, we were doing okay. And I don't know, it's kind of, and this is heresy, but I mean, it's kind of dull, like, because my poor son, he'd sit there watching me move all my AdMechs, take all my shots with them, whatever. I mean, I can just tell he's sort of like not super having a great time. He was okay. Versus, you know, then he'd move all his guys and I'd be waiting around, and that's just very clunky and dull to me. I feel, if I'm not mistaken, Age of Sigmar is the same way. I could be wrong, because I've barely played it, despite trying to paint armies for it. You know, contrast that with Shadespire, which granted is a much, much faster game, but also really cool that you know, each player takes their turn. You never quite know what they're going to do next. There's constant back and forth. My son really enjoyed it. I really enjoy it. It's just, I mean, you can attribute some of that to the speed of the rules and stuff like that. But then some other games I can think of, like Bolt Action, for example. Now that's not quite alternating, because what you do is you draw your dice orders from a bag and you go in the order of the dice drawn. But again, that's, to me, way more interesting, because sometimes one player gets a streak of moves and you got to deal with that, or sometimes it's back and forth, and that unpredictability just keeps you leaned in and engaged the whole time. So games like, I think for the small amount that I actually get out to play things, play games with people in the clubs and whatnot, I'm probably going to stick to, alternating activation games most of the time for that reason. I love bolt action. It's a ton of fun. I love Shadespire. It's fun. I think Infinity's a similar type of game, although I just find those rules too complex, and in this stage of my life, I just don't have the mental bandwidth for that. There's enough things to remember and deal with and to try and learn those rules, but it looks fun. Any kind of game, and I believe Star Wars Legion is also activating, or alternate activation, so I will ideally get to play that as well against some of the local players soon. I tend to be the guy who won't play until I have an army painted, which has its pros and cons, and sometimes I don't get around to playing for a really long time, if at all. So, but I am working pretty quick. I mean, the videos I'm posting are the progress of my two. I'm trying to paint both forces, because usually what I try to do is play with my son first and sort of learn the rules that way. So I'm working on the Rebels and the Empire. But yeah, same deal, alternating, so I feel like that's going to be a more engaging game experience. Now, the conundrum there, or the downside of this point of view, is the two most popular games locally and pretty much globally on YouTube anywhere are 40K and to some extent AOS, maybe less, but 40K is kind of the game, right? And everyone's into it, and the armies are damn cool. Like, I love painting the models and stuff, but I can't bring myself to play it because I really think it's kind of dull. Damn, I hate saying that out loud, but I just don't understand really why GW doesn't break away from that, being stuck in that mode of IGOUGO and just embrace like a faster paradigm of gameplay, a little more interesting gameplay of alternating unit activations or something like that. So that's that. I mean, this is a short one, like I said. I'd be super curious, for the few of you who watch the vlog, what you think. Like, are you of a similar mindset? Do you prefer IGOUGO? And I'd love to know why. Nothing wrong with that. I'd actually really be interested in that perspective, and it may change my mind. Or, what games are you playing that aren't IGOUGO that you find are really fun that maybe I should look at, and sort of add to my list of games that I rarely get to play. And so that's it. So I imagine most of you watching this are subscribers, because it's not going to be the kind of video that pulls new people in. But I wanted to also say that I'm not sure how often I'll do these, but these vlogs are going to be a little bit sort of self-therapy session-y, where I'm going to talk through some of my thoughts and feelings about my own participation in the hobby, how, the fulfillment I get out of it versus some of the other things I feel about it. So it's a bit of a, call it a teaser there. And it'll be like I'm talking to a therapist or something sometimes, and I don't know, you guys will either find that annoying or you'll find that interesting to see how one guy is processing a lot of the hobby, which is a massive hobby, and there's so much coming at you every day with the internet. All I did was open tabletop gaming news this morning, and oh, cool new wet palette released, and it was just on Kickstarter. It looks awesome, and I ordered that, and I'm going to suddenly try to be a wet palette guy. There's just this constant barrage of new games, new products to try, so it's a lot to take in, and so part of this vlog series will be me kind of dealing with the overload of hobby goodness that we deal with almost every single day of the year, which is a blessing and a curse. So like I said, comment below about IGOUGO versus alternating and the kinds of games you enjoy. Comment on why 40K, why AOS, why those keep you going. Is it mostly because you can find opponents, or do you just super love those games? Oh, and by the way, I wanted to add one last thing, is that do you ever find there's one rule or one or two rules in a system that can completely wreck that whole system for you? So for me, because I know that, and I know in bolt action, I have a player who hates that a single sniper shot can take out an entire light machine gun team, right? So that's just the way the rules are. And I kind of agree with him. And it doesn't wreck the game for it, but it is definitely a sore point. And so for me, AOS has two things that really keep me from diving in earnest, other than IGOUGO, and that is the thing about having random, whose turn it is each time is randomized, so that, or initiative, right? So a guy could end one turn and start the next turn, so he's moving his units twice before the next guy gets to go, which sounds a lot like alternate activation, but really isn't. It's different. And I find that just super hard to process, because I'm like, how is a guy, aren't you just going to get totally destroyed by that if you just get one bad dice roll? And the other thing I don't love is I'm pretty sure you can shoot into and out of melee combat, which again, I just not digging the idea of that. I think that's really weird. But I don't know. AOS is getting really, really popular, or has been over the last year, so maybe it's not a big deal. Post your thoughts, man. Like share your impressions of these games, or why you stick with them and stuff like that. And man, this guy's slowing down a lot. And we'll see you on the next vlog, where I'll continue to talk about my random feelings about the hobby. We'll see you later. Have a great day.